Welcome back to Mystery Garage. In today's episode, we do something a little different. Hey guys, welcome back to today's episode. As I mentioned in the intro to this episode, we're gonna do something a little bit different today. As you can see in the back corner here, I got some boxes coming in for Project Stepchild. We'll do a little bit of unboxing there. I also bought another car outside that I'm gonna quickly show you in a little bit, but let's get to opening up these boxes. So I should preface this part of the episode based on the fact that I mentioned last episode that I kind of knew the outcome of the car. I really want to build a car that looks very similar to this, almost in its entirety, color, look, classicness, that sort of thing. So I started purchasing the parts. These are just some of them that have came in, but I thought we'd do a cool little unboxing. I actually forget, I know what this box is right here, but I forget what the rest of them are, to be honest with you. But I got a lot more other parts scheduled to come in. So figured we'd do a quick little look at this and kind of see what we got. All right, so you can tell by the size of the box and the label that's on it, you can kind of get an idea what this is going to be. This is from Tectonic Tunings. I know exactly what I ordered here, and that should be a full exhaust system for the project. I used a very similar exhaust system on my Rabbit VR6, so I was pretty happy with it. It was very complete. So as you can see here, my favorite part of the whole exhaust, the rear exit. That's obviously why they wrapped that part up so well. Got the mid pipe. Over the axle pipe. And the muffler itself. And in this bag should be all the mounting hardware. Yeah, perfect. So, as you can see here, stub and all the pieces we need to get this together, as well as some of the rubbers and that sort of thing. All right, next box. This one again, it's already half open, so this makes it easy for me. Got this stuff from a company in Calgary, actually, Concept One. Highly recommend you guys look them up. They got lots of good stuff in these cars. So I got some strut bearing caps, which obviously gives you a bit of a hint what might be in one of these boxes. Got two new ones there. I always like to replace those when I do any suspension work. Here's Tectonic Tunings short shift kit. And again, you can see there the adjustables. We'll get into that in a little bit. And in this box, oh yes. Some crystal crosshairs. Oh, sweet. I'm loving those right now. All right, next box. Suspension. Got some stickers. And here we are. My knife. front or a rear. I imagine this is probably a rear. Yeah, it is a rear. So as you can see there's a rear strut and spring setup. Let's get our front here. There we go. There we are. So this is a front. So I went with SoloWorks adjustable coilover suspension. Figured I'd give that a shot and see what I think about it. But anyways, let's take a look at the full entirety of what I grabbed. So here's what we got so far. So here's the SoloWorks coilover suspension. Got some bearing caps, strut bearing caps. Got the new cross-haired headlamps. Super excited about those. Got the full rebuild kit for the shifter linkage with TT short shift, and ooh baby, that thing's polished. Then we got the full Magnaflow exhaust from TT Tuning. Pretty excited about that one as well. All of which is going to be going into Project Stepchild pretty soon. Got lots more parts coming. So I'm just going to try and show you guys some of the parts as they come in for the caliber build I'm going for with this thing. I'm going to do a really good job of making sure this is a pretty streetable car. Well built, some nice parts on it, but keep it, like I said, very simple and classic. So pretty excited about that. Like I made mention before in the beginning of the episode, I did recently buy another car. I got that just outside, so let's take a look at that. I bought a 1982 Volkswagen Cabriolet. So why did I buy this car? Well, perfectly honest, I bought this car for parts. These cars, like I had mentioned in previous episodes, these cars are getting harder to come by. It's not every day you see Mk1s for sale. You do see the later Cabrios a little bit more often, but I could get this car at a good enough deal that I thought it was worth it to buy it just for the sum of its parts. It's currently not running. It does run, so it's not an issue of the motor being seized or anything. The engine runs on quick start just fine. It's more of a fueling issue. So it's got a good solid motor in it. This car is a nugget, don't get me wrong. There's lots wrong with this car, but I thought I would use this episode as a quick walkthrough of things that I look for when I'm buying a Mk1. Just kind of judge the quality of the build and whether it's something I should keep and retain, or it's something that is just too far gone that it's not really worth it. So I'll use this both as a walkthrough, as well as I will be stripping this car in its entirety. I might show some of that in this episode. Well, we'll see how it goes. But and sorry, I brought it inside a little bit. I'll do most of this episode inside. It's getting a little windy today, so It's not the greatest of days, so I thought I would bring it inside to try and cut down on the wind noise. But anyway, this is it. It does have some, decently clean wheels. They're not really my style, but they are very clean. So they're worth some money right there. But as far as the car goes, I think it's a 1.7 liter, to be honest with you. Maybe a 1.8, but it has had some modification done to the engine. A little bit, nothing crazy. But anyway, so let's take a look at this car and look at the things that I look for when I'm buying a Mark 1. Okay, so item number 1. Obviously you want to make sure the car runs and it's got a decent amount of kilometers on it. You're going to find that most of these cars, well, sorry if you're American, you want to look for mileage, but anyways, Canadian cars, you want to find a decent amount of kilometers. It's hard to find these cars nowadays that aren't in and around the 200,000 kilometer range. Some are even pushing 250, 260, 270, that kind of thing for the average Mark 1. You find a clean example, you might find it under the 200s in the 150 range, that sort of thing. But that's more of a Sunday driver, summer only type deal. But this car, I don't even know how many miles it has on it. Let's take a look real quick. I don't even know if that's accurate, but it says 163,000. I kind of doubt that. For one, the clocks have been changed. For two, I do believe, based on the quality of the body on this car, that it's got well over 200,000 on it. Second thing is, what does the strut tower condition look like? And as you can see in this car, just by showing you this strut tower, you can see there's obvious issues right out of the gate. So you got rust down here, got rust up here, and a crazy amount of rust back here. Now they've thrown a whole bunch of, it's really hard to see, it's not even really worth showing you. You can see that the rust starts up in the top corner right here. But down here is a real bad scene. They've thrown some sealer on it or some caulking or something to really kind of cover it up. But it is seriously rusty down there. I don't know if you can see that. Maybe even if you look right in there, you can see it. So there's rust, all through this section. There's also some really weird strut mount thing they did here for the hood. But anyways, same thing on the other side. You want to look in and around the strut tower, and you can see here that there's rust here. Can only imagine that there's rust down in here as well behind the airbox. So right there are indicators that this car has seen better days. It's going to take some significant work. It is savable. A lot of people do it, but this is something that I would know going into it that's going to cost you a great deal of money to repair. Not only money is time, and quite often time is worth more valuable than money itself. The other thing I look at in this car, and to be honest, I haven't even checked it because it wasn't worth it to me, but is the rear. Let me just see if I can show you. Let's just check it out. So where the rear frame, the rear beam mounts, let's just see if we can see that. You can see how rusty it is up in, where are we here? Up in here. These beam points of where this rear beam mounts is a critical rust point for these cars. I've seen cars, just like my Scirocco in a previous episode, that whole thing was just rusted right out. So if you ever see damage here, that's an easily walk away point, knowing that it's going to take a ton of money and time to get that all fixed. So as you can see where I am, I'm just forward of the rear tires. So you're going to have that as an issue. The other thing you want to look at is a little different on a Cabrio because they have this frame strengthening bar, which you wouldn't normally see because of a lack of a roof. You wouldn't normally see that on a Rabbit or Jetta. You want to follow the pinch welds, and you can see indicators of rust. Now let's not forget this car has been resprayed, so what we see on the top doesn't really match what may be inside of this car. It could have past jobs and all that kind of thing. You can see the paint's pretty thick in some spots, so you can imagine it's bond out already, that kind of thing. And you're going to check into the mount points from the where you would pick it up on a lift as well, and you can see some indicators of rust in that. So those are the big major things that I check for right away. And then you're going to look at overall condition of the car to kind of see indicators of whether this car has been, gone through. So you can tell, obviously, the valve cover has been taken off and painted, that kind of thing. This car, I don't know if I can show you here. Maybe you can see it. I hope to. You can see it right there. There's one of them here. But this car has a header on it. And this has also been color matched. So the possibility of this engine being out of the car or swapped into the car is real. It's probably 100% possibility this engine's been swapped. So it's good to know that, so you're not really dealing with original kilometers. Likewise, the clock inside the car won't be accurate, so you can kind of tell those sort of things. Now you can obviously do some serial number investigation on the engine to see if that's original, but I truly believe it not to be. On top of that, you can look at other indicators. I don't know if you can really see, it's terrible lighting, but these door cards are blue, the interior is black. I actually really like these seats. These are kind of a GTI pattern. But anyways, as you go through the car, you can start to see indicators that this whole car has been gone through. This right here is actually metal. There's supposed to be a cover over top of that that's in the same material as the dash. So that's missing. They've gone and painted it. Being the door cards are blue and the interior is black, there's a high probability that a lot of these parts have been swapped out, much like why these seats. I don't think these seats went with this car particularly. They could have, but I believe they're out of a different car. They've gone and cut speaker holes into the door cards, so the door cards aren't of value anymore, really. Lots of little things, lots of pieces missing from the dash and all that kind of stuff. It's got a nice steering wheel on, I'm gonna give them that much. But they did paint the, sorry, let me see if I can focus. They did paint that, but whatever, I can change that back. I can show you one thing that I always look for, just to see what level of gone through the cars are, is when you look at, and I know this is minor, but this is the center kind of console with the gauges. When you see that the hardware isn't factory, you can see that too, there's a couple of them there. You know that all this stuff's been taken apart before. And then you start to realize that, okay, maybe this car is a mismatch of a whole bunch of different pieces thrown together. And if that's the case, when you start taking things apart, you're gonna find wiring issues and challenges all along the way. So if you're looking for a really clean example, you want to try and find indicators like that might kind of give it all away. And it's got some serious exhaust tip on that. But anyways, I'm getting to the point now where I'm probably just going to start taking it apart. So let's get into this. As you can see, got a lot of good stuff here. So it's a really good condition dash. There's a little bit of blemish right in here, but a lot of that's clean offable. Just a bit of a mess, but black carpet, black door cards for the back. The back door cards are Cabrio only. Got the seats, steering wheel. I don't know why I kept the gauges, but I got them. Got the center console with gauges, all that kind of stuff. So actually, let's take a look at the car here real quick. So as you can see, I've pretty much stripped it out. There'll be a little bit more that I take from this interior, but not a lot more. I kind of go and take everything that's good. Some of the stuff that's broken, I'll leave in the car, or I throw back in the car, that sort of thing. But you can see here, as I was saying to you before, this all is spray foam. They spray foamed inside of that rust hole in the inner wheel well. You can see it's starting to rust in here on the floor as well. You can actually see where the water ran. They put all that spray foam in there to be able to goop the other side to make it not be able to see the rust. The condition of this car, to be honest, I'd say probably is a 5 out of 10. There's rust on the floor over there. There's a bit of a rust they kind of covered it up. But underneath that piece there, you can see that's why they sprayed it. There's rust all under there as well, carries into the front, potentially a hole in the floor. So, you know, this car has some serious rust issues, and I'm not a big Cabrio guy, so I'm definitely just going to use the parts this car has to my benefit, and then the car will see its ultimate demise. I'm just going to go and get all this stuff cleaned up. It's kind of a mess here, but next after that we'll tackle you know, more of the car. All right. Okay, so I've taken everything off I basically wanted to remove. As you can see, the car looks much different now. I rolled it outside to quickly give you the last part of the car. I am going to try and locally list the top to see if anybody needs it. More of a salvage thing than anything else, but a couple unique things on this car. It has a stud kit put in it. I don't really have a use for it, so I kind of just left it there. It runs bigger lugs and an Allen style stud. I don't really need the studs for anything. They're actually, I tried to remove one, they're actually probably seized in there. I did take off everything I did need. I'm leaving for now at least. I'm leaving the engine in there. I did do some research, and it turns out that it's a 1.6 liter H block in there. So I don't really have a need for it. I'm going to post it locally, see if anybody else wants it. If they don't, it'll just stay in the car. Like I said, I have no use for 1.6. Obviously the hood can't be used. It's got this hood scoop on it. The front fenders have been, there's been rivets put in the side of it, as well as there's rust kind of in the bottom corners of both sides. So the fenders aren't really salvageable. I don't need the bumpers for anything particular, so I'm going to leave those on the car. The interior, as you saw before, the interior is completely gutted. There's not much left there. In the back of the car, again, not much left there. I am going to take off the taillights at a later time. And when I was underneath the car, I noticed that it's got a brand new, or relatively new, fuel tank in it. So I'll take out the fuel tank and the filler neck. Those filler necks sometimes get rusty, and it's good to have. I don't necessarily need that fuel cap, but the filler neck that's in there would be nice to keep. Thanks again, guys, for sticking in this far in the episode. I thought I would give you a little teaser what we're doing next episode. As you can see right there is the supercharger. I think it's about time we brought in the VR6 into the shop and stuffed that baby on. And so I would do a couple episodes on getting that thing in the car. So until next time, guys, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and comment on this video, as well as subscribe to this channel if you like this sort of content. Thank you very much for everything so far. Look forward to seeing you guys next episode. Take care.